In 5,
4.
3, 2.
It's irrelevant. What's up, bro?
Yeah, nothing, man. I'm just chilling.
How was your day?
No,
What day is it today?
It's Saturday. It's a simple day.
It's Saturday, December 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got up afternoon. How's it looking over there, Halom?
It's looking hella proper.
Shout out to Halom. So, how does it feel to be on camera?
On camera?
I guess we did one last night, but you deleted. Oh no, you took it.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's like I was meant for it.
Okay, so go on, expand that thought, bro.
I was born for the camera.
Were you?
I think that I reach another high level when the cameras are on. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't get it.
Like I raise my level of competition or my level of performance when the camera's on.
Yeah, see, I feel like I'm the opposite.
Really?
Nah, no, it's not like I don't raise my level of competition, but I don't know if I like the camera as much as I like just the radio. But
Really?
But I feel like we got to do it. I feel like you have to do it. I feel like in 2018, if you're going to put out content, there has to be visual aid.
Yeah, definitely. We're in a visual era of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, exactly. I like to see the podcast, but I like to see the people that are speaking the podcast.
That's the same with me, and I've gotten into this thing now of watching like podcast clips.
Yeah.
So like little 5-minute or 10-minute clips of just a video on YouTube of the podcast, and those are very digestible.
What's your favorite podcast right now?
My favorite bro. That's tough, man. What's your favorite podcast right now? I love Brilliant Idiots. Like if I was to suggest anything to anybody, it'd have to be Brilliant Idiots.
I besides sports podcast, I really like the Grapevine. Depending on
the Grapevine.
I've
never heard of it.
It's basically about people, a bunch of African Americans that sit on a round table and talk about offensive things, offensive of topics that one has and two people from different aisle talk about.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Which is really interesting. Yeah.
Told me about. Remember we had that conversation about Donald Glover and can you really support the Black Lives Matter movement if you marry a white chick?
Yeah, so they had that conversation there.
Yeah.
And they had also, that was a really good conversation. And they had also the African and Caribbean versus African American conversation, which was my favorite.
That's interesting. It's totally two different worlds, eh?
Yeah, it's 3 different worlds, but it was just all in one room, and they were just expressing how they feel like for each other and if there's any form of connection.
Was there?
Some African Americans.
Why does there have to be connection though? That's my question. Because
the nature of the nature of the way that African American Black people were or went from Africa to the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
They were forcibly taken.
Mm-hmm.
If say like you, for example, your ancestors German, they left on their own choice for a better life in another country. Mm-hmm. That's a totally different concept, but they were forcibly taken. So then it's like, so they still have that bad taste in their mouth, right? For all these years. So that's why.
But why does there have to be a relation between African and Caribbean?
Mm-hmm.
Like were our Caribbean, like Black people in Caribbean, are they from the slave trade?
Yeah,
that's all they're from.
Yeah,
all
of them from the Caribbean.
Okay, see that makes more sense.
And then all from the Caribbean, and then they're from the slave trade.
Yeah, it's so trippy.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. Lots of it was getting heated at a point. If you were getting heated, people were saying so.
Well, of course, bro. You're talking about race, dude.
Yeah,
like shit doesn't get heated.
And I like this kind of this podcast where we kind of talk about these.
Was there any white people there?
There was a mixed guy. There was a conversation about something about African, and there was like a Creole person, which is basically white.
Creole, like Mauritius.
No, Creole like Amber Rose.
True, she's Creole?
Yeah.
What is it like? What is that?
Creoles are like you know how say for example, from if a black person and a black person and a white person get married,
Yeah,
they have a kid. It's a mixed kid. That mixed kid.
they're going to jail.
Oh gosh.
Okay, no, yeah, we're 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That person gets married to a white person.
Yeah.
And that's their kid is Creole. Like
So it's not mixed.
so it's like
So Drake is Creole?
Drake is mixed. It's like the second generation of a mixed kid.
So if Drake has kids, then it's a Creole.
Like his kid that he has,
Yeah.
he's kind of Creole. So it basically means that
It's like the girls who are out here, what's it called? Blackfishing. Have you heard of it?
yeah, I just seen the post, but I didn't click on it.
Have you heard of it? Like when these white chicks try to be black on Instagram?
Yeah, that don't they have a word called transracial for them?
Yeah. Yeah, transracial, bro.
Yeah,
Well, here, let's look it up.
transracial. Yeah.
Type of transformer as well.
It would be blackfishing aga. Oh my god, I can't even say that. So
It's
she's
a real
Polish.
thing.
Look at her. Does she look black? She looks pretty black.
Oh, yeah, she does.
She looks like mixed.
Yeah, or mixed race. Yeah, for sure. That is crazy. That's actually happening.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't it make sense?
When I seen this kind of stuff, I thought it was just like I just thought it was just a one-off person, but it's actually like a thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Don't you guys know that black people are the coolest? Look at it. See, look, this is her.
Okay, like, how much makeup is she putting on her face?
Yeah, for real, like caking in it. Okay, so
And she has it on her profile picture?
I don't know.
I literally thought this girl I was following was some light-skinned girl, but it turns out
So that's the same chick. Pretty crazy, eh?
how do you even get to that level?
I don't know. She looks much better half black. Let's be real here, you know what I mean? 6'9". She's got a 6'9" tattoo on her arm. Is that real?
I think it's 9'6".
But it's a 6'9". If
Yeah.
you flip it,
flip it. Oh,
she
shit.
got a 6'9". Is that real?
I guess.
Oh my
I guess
God,
6'9"
that's-
is the poster boy for this movement. There.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. I guess 6'9" may have started it.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah,
I
that's.
don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that? Hello.
Yeah, what do you guys think about transracial? You know, like if I came out and I was like, you know, we've been friends for, you know, coming up on a year now. I think I deserve a little black in me. What would you guys have to say about that?
Just be yourself, man.
Yeah. Like I just feel like you can't. I just feel like I don't think it's good at all.
Yeah.
No?
Everybody should be proud of the skin that they're born in. In a sense that you should love
Mm-hmm.
the skin that you are in.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, like because I think that once you go to that transracial thing,
Mm-hmm.
you're going really, really dicey right now. We're going to a dicey situation.
Why? Did you see the guy who tried to get his age changed?
His age?
Yeah, so there's a guy in Europe who tried to get his age legally changed. So from like 69 to 49 or something.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so he could bang broads on Tinder. He's like, yo, I'm way more likely to get swipes if I'm 49. Like, it's true, bro.
Yo.
Like, and he
The funny thing is, I can actually see that happening though.
yo, the court rejected him. They're like, no, we're taking that's one step too far. But they even put it through the process, though.
Which is scary already.
They put it through the process, and they're like, well, if we're going through this time where people have fought to be able to change their genders, we got to be able to be open to conversations like this, or like Rachel Dolezal or whoever this chick is.
That was actually the one of the points that people said about the transracial point in the Grapevine, and a lot of people were really mad about it. I think that it's I don't know. I think that
What are the difference? What would be the difference between transgender and transracial? So this is tough. This is a really, especially for all of us who really don't know either. But like, so
that was actually one of the points that they were brought up in during that the podcast I listened to.
but it's confusing. It's like how far So we all agree that if somebody wants to change their gender because they feel like they're another gender, that they should be allowed to do that. Are we all agreeing? I know I don't want to pressure anyone into even saying they're agreeing if they don't agree. You know what I mean? Or if they have nuance to the situation.
Because I think it's kind of like society. Like I think it's more of a societal. It's more of a societal thing. Like
But I just want to like come to the conclusion. I want to just like try to be very clear about it. So I think we should. I think if someone feels a certain way and has the ability to get a transition done, then it should be able to get done.
So then you're for sure going to be for that, the transracial thing too as well.
I guess I would have to. If someone would choose, if someone has the funds to want to be modified differently, I would have to. Because as long as it's not covered by our government health care or our tax dollars, I don't know if I could not be hypocritical and say that I don't think it should be allowed. Because I don't really care, to be honest. You know what I mean?
That's sorry to interrupt you, but that's why I was trying to say, like, it comes to the bigger picture. Are you sure it's not a form of colorism? That's what one of the points we're talking about. Because if a black person wants to make their skin lighter, which use white skin, what's the term we're going to call them? We're going to call him a coon. We're going to call him an Uncle Tom, and this is colorism to the full effect. When a white person wants to turn black, it's a form of colorism. It's a form, you know what I mean? It's a form of self-hate within themselves. So the thing is, the transracial thing, is that something that we want? We want to make it seem like it's okay. You can get up and self-hate your skin, because that can have ripple effects on. See, if that person gets one day a position of power or something like that, she has a self-hate dilemma against her own skin.
And that's what a lot of the argument of all this, like the right wing of the not agreeing with white privilege or whatever. They're like, if you agree to white privilege and you agree to this, then that's a form of self-hate. All of a sudden, you're being a racist against your own white skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're taking it a little bit too far.
Exactly, it is taking it a little too far, but it was a good point that you brought up with this, because it would be hard. It would just be hard to.
I think that, especially the going back to white privilege, when they're saying that, I think people are not saying that hate your skin color. I don't think the argument about what they were saying about. I think,
but that's almost what happened. You think about World War II and Nazi Germany, and you think about Hitler, and you think about how he was a quarter Jew. He was self-hate. His grandmother was a Jew. You know what I mean? That's what that stemmed from. Yeah. Obviously, psychotic, crazy person too. But like that's what makes you make irrational decisions. You know what I mean?
No, I
like bleaching your skin if you were going through colorism or whatever, self-hate. Like that's a irrational decision.
Irrational decision. No, yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of people are concerned about the institutions that support, like, say, for like white privilege. They were talking about the institutions. You know, so it's a really interesting conversation. It's a really interesting conversation because it's one of those conversations that are not being put in the media a lot and having a real life discussion.
I had a conversation with my friend one time, and we were talking about Kim Kardashian and the influence she puts out on the world. And he thinks it's okay for her to put a positive influence on plastic surgery. And it's hard for me to stand by that, because I don't think that should be something that will help with self-confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what That's what I feel like they approach it. Like, only if I could change to this, then I could be that.
You know what's big? It's when I was watching documentaries about South America, how it's huge over there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of girls are getting plastic surgeries to get jobs. A lot of them
ass shots.
Yeah, ass shots to get bigger ass, to get better jobs, to get a bit. And the thing is like the core of the issue is like saying, why do in society women feel like they need to get a plastic surgery so they feel like they can move better in life?
Because that's the place we live in. If you think about it, think about our society. Think about it right now. We meet women in our lives, young women. We're young men.
Mm-hmm.
We meet young women who almost have, and I've experienced this so much, who have this like longing for a man, who have this like need to be with like to be with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel that personally with a woman. You know what I mean? I don't need to fulfill my role in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what happens with women in our society today. They need a man as a part of their picture almost.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's the patriarchy.
Are you sure really it's the man, or it's really the idea of the man?
I think
the idea of the man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not being specific about what man, but like just that we've either taught them to be codependent. We've taught women to be codependent, and it's institutionalized,
mm-hmm.
or it's biological.
Mm-hmm.
And they just that's just how we're made. Like, the man was the thing that's going to kill and hunt, and then the woman's going to be the thing that needs the man so it can nurture the babies.
I think that you made a really good point. I also think that, just adding to that point, I think that our society, what's the biggest issue is that
we got a lot of issues.
Yeah, but a lot of issues is that a lot of there seems there seems like one more prison, a lot of like women are not having spaces to openly talk about what it is to be a woman. Do you know what I mean? Because I was talking to a lot of my friends, and some of them were
like, in what aspect?
Like, I was asking what do you see a woman is, you know? And I learned, I had a lot of different answers. Some were like, what do you think you need to be at this age?
It's a good question to go ask people.
Yeah, it was a good question because I wanted to see.
If you're at home right now listening, or anywhere, what do you think a man, if you're a man or a woman,
yeah, exactly.
What do you think a man is in your brain? Or what do you think a woman is in your brain?
And I realized that their idea of what there should be right now is the idea of the person that they look up to.
Yeah.
The celebrity they look up to.
Yeah.
Right? So we create this fanatic, which you can look up to a role model and he could be a really good role model. You can look up to a role model that's not a good role model, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, we created a fanaticism on celebrities that we literally want to be them all the time. Like Lil Yachty was talking about how everybody wants to be famous. There's this fanatic form of that, right? It's really and it's really warping us from reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, my life is not what you're gonna see on music videos.
Yeah,
it's not like that. Your love life is not gonna be what you see on music videos.
Yeah,
but a lot of people, even men, do that too. They try to make it it is.
It's just like watching porn. It's like watching porn before you've had sex. You watch porn and you're like, oh, that's what sex is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And after you get there and you don't see, it's not like that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and now it's even worse. It's not even just like movies and media. It's like all of our lives.
Yeah.
Because it's on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't even have to look up to Kim Kardashian anymore. You could just look up to and be envious of the girl who sat beside you in biology in grade 11. Mm-hmm. And it's like 8 years later and she's looking really good and you're like, oh, like that's what I need. That's
I'm gonna show her.
Yeah, I need to be there, or I need to look like that, or I need to be that person. Mm-hmm. And now it's everywhere because we turn on our phones, and what do most people do when they open their phones in the morning?
Social media.
They open social media. That's just what it is.
And don't get me wrong, like, it happens to everybody. It even happens to best of me. Sometimes you're like, oh, easy. Why do I need to feel to do this? Why do I need to feel to do that? You don't.
Yeah.
and it's also dangerous to be a fanatic. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of realized from asking my friends, my guy friends, and my friends that are girls. I see the danger of becoming fanatics of over celebrities. You know,
Yeah.
and it's important to look at regular role models you see every day. Like, you know, like, for example, like, you have I will tell them, like,
Yeah.
you have a mom that's taking care of you.
Yeah,
That's a role model in itself, you know?
I think that's a dying thing too.
Yeah,
you
it's a
hear
dying
a lot
thing,
of
yeah.
people like back in the day when they do interviews and stuff, they'd be like, "Who's your biggest inspiration?" It's like, "Yeah, my dad's my hero, or that's my role model, and my mom's my hero." Like, you don't hear that much anymore. No
Exactly.
one wants to be really like their parents. And why is that? Is that the family falling apart? Is that the family situation falling apart, or is that us being so attached to
Social media has made us
this other digital world?
be disgusted about being regular, about just not being.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good point.
Yeah, and that's why one of the video I showed you from that MC guy, although I didn't like his point about hip hop, but he said something important. It's like groups are important because it's important for kids to understand that in a group, not everybody is going to be shining, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's important for kids to find something they can relate to in the group, because not everybody is going to be that Run DMC, or nobody's going to be that Justin Timberlake that's going to stand out and start dancing like crazy, or the Michael Jackson out of the group, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes in life you might relate to the guy that's not as the most popular, but there's a lot of things in the back, right? So that's why I feel like it's so important. Social media made us to the test being regular. People are gonna look, oh, this guy has not much follower. Oh, I'm not gonna like. Even I remember it happened to me. One of my friends followed me.
Mm-hmm.
Good friend, but he has more followers than He has more people following than he follows. And I'm like, ew, I'm not gonna follow this guy. He has more following than followers. And I started thinking about it when I was going home. I was like, that's my good friend. Why would I base his whole life on how much followers he has?
Did you actually do that?
Yeah, for like one day. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, yo, I'm crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
That is some crazy.
And the thing is, it happens to us every day. And the thing is like, you have to be able to kind of check yourself, because sadly, social media does a lot of good things in the world. It does amazing things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it also can reveal some of the worst things out of us. Greed, envy. You know what I mean? It propels it, you know? Why people are so like Twitter fingers.
And it's it isn't a mirror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sucks everything. Sometimes when you listen to really good art, or you listen to a really good podcast, like hopefully this is right now, or you listen to a movie and you hear people talking, and then, or you are watching something and it has like a meaning behind it. There's a message, or there's something that makes you think about your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And social media does not do that. It sucks all of your energy out.
Yeah.
You look at, I open Instagram. I felt it the other day. I open Instagram and I'm looking through, and it makes me feel bad. Like, it literally does not make me feel good. Like, I'm sitting in this basement in this fucking ghetto ass, in Rexdale, and I'm scrolling through, and there's, this chick I just met. She's like taking pictures from New York, and it makes me feel
like,
envious.
what are you doing in life?
That's
it makes
the
you
thing.
envy her.
It makes me feel envious, and it kind of gets me angry to a certain extent that, like,
at yourself. Or who are you angry at?
I'm angry that that's the standard now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be all over social media. You know what I mean? I hate it. I really hate it. I even hate responding to texts, because
Yeah, I'm not good at responding at
No,
texts.
me neither. I just don't want to be available 24/7. I don't want everybody to see me all the time.
Yeah.
This is a different case. This is like content. I think this is more meaningful than just a picture with a caption. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So this is okay, but living your life through that Instagram lens is
So social media in general, like, I totally get what you're trying to say. My sister even told me, it's like, 40, I was like, you're gonna have a problem. We were just joking around, my sister, you're gonna have a problem finding a wife. I'm like, why? You are an old school guy. You're the kind of person that you don't text, you call. You like human interaction. You like meeting up people, talking to them a lot. Yeah. And she's like, in this day of age, it's not happening.
I know, I'm so bad with it. Like,
I'm so bad with it. I don't know how to, like, I don't know how to respond because me, I'm a kind of guy like I need to see human reaction. I like to see nonverbal. I need to hear the voice. I need to
non-verbal communication. What's non-verbal?
Non-verbal communication is when you no
Like,
yo, you guys, you
is that non-verbal
non-verbal communication. I learned that in class recently. Yeah, I learned that in my sports leadership class. Shout out to my teacher Sloss.
Is this non-verbal communication?
What? Non-verbal communication. Yeah, that can be.
That's
non-verbal communication,
yeah.
Or it's just like, someone is in front of there and not even saying anything because you can tell. At least from what my teacher told me, 55% of all your conversation can be told by looking at somebody. Just knowing how they move, you can tell already.
Yeah.
You can feel how they feel about a certain topic.
I feel like sometimes though that people crave people, like when you talk to them, like I try to have as many real conversations throughout the day as possible. And when someone hears you talking about like this kind of stuff, when they hear you can almost like see the desperation in their face of like wanting to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like they're almost fiending for a life outside of social media. You can like see it behind their eyes of like, you're so right. It's like, I'm dying in this thing that is social media. I'm trying to live up to everything. I can feel it when I talk to people about it. It's like, no one wants that. No one wants it. Everybody would love to just like slow down for a second. You know what I mean? And just not talk and just not look at anything and not like anything and not notifications, anything, and just take a deep breath.
Think about this. This is us. We're talking at 23.
Yeah.
Imagine a 13-year-old kid on social media right now.
He's going to kill himself.
Getting bombarded with all different things and all these different issues. You know
It's crazy. I can't even think about
like
it.
us, I was you same generation raised with Facebook, right? When Facebook just came out, right? But Facebook was not nearly as impactful.
It was harmless.
It was.
We weren't even spending time on it.
You won't even spend too much time on Facebook, and even if you're spending too much time on Facebook or things like MSN, like you're always on it. Ew, like you know what I mean? Like now it's like since Instagram and Twitter came out, it's like ginormous monsters. Like and before that I didn't have Instagram, so I never really understood. And my friends like, yo, for you to get Instagram, you need to get Instagram. I got Instagram around 2015, right? 2015, 2016. And I didn't really pay attention to mine. Then I started getting more likes and more followers. And I see myself, I used to never be part of that group. And I see myself enjoying it. It's making me feel better. How does a picture make you feel better? Like, no, it's true. Nobody wants to talk about it, but like having a lot of likes makes you feel nicer.
Because that cute girl you saw in class liked it. And now
you're
like, yo, that's it. Like,
that's what's up.
And it gets your hormones. It gets a reaction from you biologically. Like something happened. They said they manufactured it like a casino. And Elon Musk was talking on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he was talking about how Instagram's a totally different level of it. Because it's not like Facebook where you scroll down and you look for notifications. Instagram, you're scrolling down and you're visually and audio integrated into whatever's happening in front of you right now.
And I feel like exactly like Twitter, Facebook, not much problem. I don't spend too much time on Twitter and Facebook. But the beast that keeps me there is Instagram and Snapchat. Those two are like, because the visual focus on it. It's like, it captivates me. Especially Instagram. Instagram is just like, you're seeing so much stuff. When you're scrolling down, for like I can scroll down for like 20 seconds and I'm bombarded with like 30, 40 different ideas. 30 different feelings from people.
But maybe I think I was blessed too because my mom taught me a lesson when I was growing up. I remember my mom went to the hospital for something. I don't know what happened. Like she had an asthma attack or something. And I remember I was a stupid little 13-year-old kid who came back and typed on his Facebook status like, "Oh, just got back from the hospital. ... You know what I mean? Like something stupid like that, trying to get attention. And then my mom came up to me. She's like, "Never ever put anything medical or blah 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 on social media or Facebook. Never did it ever again." And then I remember one time I was like being a little fucking idiot at 16, and my mom called me out on it. She's like, hey, I was doing something. She was freaking out at me. She's like, you got homophobic shit on your Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, well, lesson learned. This is number 2. I'm never posting anything on social media ever again. It's just only a liability from here on out.
How do your mom know about it? She follows you?
No, because apparently, like, my aunt ratted on me or something. Like,
yeah.
I must have said the F word or something bad when I was 16.
There's always like a. It's funny how it goes.
I let a
quick.
maggot fly.
It's funny how it goes quick, huh? Social media, like in an instant, like.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the flip? It caught you so off guard, and you're like, whoa, what's
That's
going
why I feel so uncomfortable when I'm with people and they're like using their phone and shit, because like there's someone else here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now, right
we
here,
had that
there's
discussion
like
today.
there's someone else here. It's not just me. You're looking at the entire
I went on a date with a girl, and
ether.
then I went on a date with her, and the funny thing is, I thought she was super amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I based my whole idea on her on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
You got blackfished.
Yeah, and I went on a date with her, and then it's just like she was just on her phone the whole time, like, hey, scrolling. It's like, yeah, I'm listening to you. How's your day going?
I fucking hate that, bro.
Do you think this girl? Do you
Fucking
think this girl is bad? What do you think about her? So we're talking about social media the whole time, and I was literally there, and I was like, in my head, I was like, what the fuck?
like the hypocrisy of you talking about social media and then her being lost in it.
Yeah,
Yo, that's like some idiocracy shit.
No,
dude.
and the
should
thing
have
is,
wrote her a note, bro.
no,
Like,
the thing is, with me, the kind of guy. The thing is, when I meet a girl and everything like that, I'm a kind of guy that I only page the people I care about.
Oh, true.
If I just meet you right, not in a bad sense, because I don't know how people are gonna react on it. You know what I mean?
what do you mean by page?
So then,
Like, be straight up with them?
if I went somewhere with my little sister and she was on Instagram, I'm like, yo, don't do that. It's rude. It's disrespectful. I'll give her a whole speech about it. If I meet a new person, I don't want to page them. I want to look. I want to observe them.
Yeah.
I want to observe them, and I'll see how their tendencies are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I page her about it, she's gonna change it, and she won't be her true self.
Yeah.
So I want her to be her true self. I want to see it 100%. I want the rawness. So then I seen it and I observed it. I act like I didn't mind, but then I was like, okay, definitely not this one.
It's horrible.
Definitely not this one.
It's like
definitely not
seeing
this one.
someone with like a major addiction. It's like seeing someone doing like cocaine in front of you. It's like that's unattractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not the right spot to be doing this.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on a second. Oh, okay, let's go back. What were you saying? How was your day?
That's exactly what it's like, bro.
Like on Queen of the South. You remember that dude there on Queen of the South? Just shout out to the Queen of the South. That was a dope. Don Epifiano, bro. Your Queen of the South, best show ever.
Best show ever
On Netflix.
That's
Go
a
check it
bold
out.
claim.
The bold play. It's a really dope show.
Yeah, social media. It's a strange world we live in.
But how did this girl get caught though? Did she post her herself or what?
I don't know. Let's go. There's a bunch of good ones that, like her. She's good looking either way. She looks sort of not totally white there, but she looks very black there. She's
Like
good
this is scary
looking,
because
dude.
it's like
Oh,
that's her.
What's up, shorty? Is that her? No,
no, that's
no, it can't be.
Cannot.
Cannot
no, it's
be.
her. Go up. It is. It is her. Are you kidding
No,
me?
that's not her.
Look.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same person.
Oh my god.
She's gorgeous. Huh? Maybe it is.
It is. I told you it is her.
Blackfishing. Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh my god.
Damn, shorty. Okay, so
I would have slid in her DMs anyway, but fine. Either way, I would have slid in her DMs. But
yeah,
hey.
but bro, you don't agree with the transracial, dude. Okay, so well, this looks interesting.
Oh, I thought you were looking back to your old statuses on Facebook.
No, we're not doing that. I have a bunch of saved posts, and we'll do some recent events, current events. What matters are the basic issues of human decency and planetary sustainability of life. And on such crucial scores, Justin Trudeau is an existential threat as Trump, if not more so. I don't even want to read this. I didn't know it was about Donald Trump and fucking.
Oh, probably about the
I'll
Asian
cut that
person
shit
that the CFO. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to talk about right here. Okay, so a couple of days ago, do you know what Huawei is? Huawei?
Yahweh.
Huawei? So it's a Chinese cell phone company.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Canada,
All the fraud. Okay.
they arrested her. You're not.
Toronto, huh?
Yeah, you're not
Yeah, I
gonna be.
heard about that.
No, it was in Vancouver.
Never mind.
So So do you know why they arrested her?
Yeah.
So they arrested her because of fraud charges.
Well, the U.S. requested her arrest to
The US
the Canadian border.
Yes, the U.S. requested her arrest and then extradite her to the United States.
She's still in the court process in Canada. Yeah, the court has to decide if she's going to get bail or be extradited.
See, that's tough for Canada to make that decision.
Extremely tough, because Canada has treaties with the United States about extradition, and basically they're saying that the treaties are so it's so complicated, because the treaty says that even though the government doesn't want, or even though the government like to extradite somebody, it cannot go through a parliament or political governing system. It has to go through the judicial system. So even if the politicians don't think it's a good idea, it'll be up to the judge to decide if she's going to get extradited or not. But the thing is, China can, especially Vancouver and British Columbia, they have that whole province has close ties with China.
Yeah,
most everybody's Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like Canada's at a place now that China's saying, if this happens, there will be consequences.
Grave consequences.
So that, and they were talking about how normally Canada kind of stayed away from that United States and
which
China
is advisable.
thing, where they will always, just historically, they will always do that. Remember Cuba and United States, how Canada had an embassy, a Cuban embassy, an American embassy. Canada has always been that country in the middle, right? And they always, good things stayed in the middle because they don't want to get involved in all this kind of stuff. They're just like, listen, we're just here. We don't hate anybody. We understand both sides, but we're just gonna be here, right? But the thing is, now we're put in a place now that boom, we're in the spotlight now. And what you do will have great consequences, because if you send her back, if you let her bail and let her leave, go back to China, you can best believe Donald Trump is gonna go furious. And if
you can best believe that she's not coming back.
She's not coming back. And then if we send her to America, it's gonna be like a death toll on Canada and China relations.
Yeah, what do you think? What could happen? Like, are they gonna? Do you think they'll put her on bail? I think they have to.
No, they won't. It's a political move. It's a political move by by Canada is gonna cave into America. It's a political move, because the thing is, she was arrested because they didn't even have to tell the charges. They're saying that she was arrested because they said that she transferred cells to Iran.
So what she did was she is getting fraud charges.
Yeah.
Because there were U.S. materials that were not supposed to go to Iran because of trade sanctions.
Yes, trade sanctions.
That she looped around through another company that said wasn't Huawei, but actually was Huawei. So they went around the trade sanctions through shell companies. So technically that is fraud. If what they're saying is true, then it's true. But it's all based on the Iran sanctions.
But the whole thing about that, exactly, you said an amazing point. It's all based on the Iran sanctions. But basically she's being detained because she did business with Iran. But the thing is, when you think about it, Europe still wants to do business with Iran.
Yeah.
You still have EU representatives.
Yeah.
They're trying to get deals and trying to get companies to go in Iran to do business with Iran. So what I'm trying to say is, like, it's a clear political move, because the thing is, if it was a European diplomat, they wouldn't have arrested her, because they're close. They're still allies with the United States.
Yeah, 100%.
But because it's China, especially the enemy that they're going against right now, it's like it's heightened. So then that's why this thing that's so scary is, like, it happened on Canadian soil. So then people were asking Prime Minister.
It's all based on Iran trade sanctions.
Yeah.
And on the fact that U.S. has put out public security notices of Huawei using third-party information from the U.S. and quote-unquote spying. Using it and funneling it back to Chinese government, because they're all connected. They're all connected to the Communist Party, which is a party in China. All the big CEOs and execs are a part of the political party.
But the one thing I will say about the U.S. is, like, all big CEO multinationals in America are connected to the American government.
Exactly. Too. But we have to, and that's where it's like,
it gets kind of trippy.
Well, that's the thing. it's like, who are we to even talk or even think about these discussions? Because there's so much muddy water. We have no information.
And this is what journalist was asking Justin Trudeau, but he couldn't respond because it's judicial matter and security matter, so he can't respond. But this is what they were asking, because they're saying it's like it's clearly a political move. It's clearly a political move on the
but Japan also does not allow Huawei to sell phones in Japan either, because of the same security threat. And who knows if that's the US telling them to do that, or that you're going to risk their trade partnerships, or if it's actually real. But it could be both.
It could be. Listen, I could be both. And let me get clear on this conversation. I'm not saying they're 100% wrong. I'm not saying they're 100% right. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that everybody Huawei is the second biggest telecommunication company right after Apple. So a lot of people in Western allies fear the rise of Huawei. Of
course.
They fear the rise of Huawei.
There's competition in this monopoly.
Exactly. It's a competition in monopoly. That's the core of it.
But also China is building a massive database, and they're going to start giving their population credit based on their actions within China.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm afraid of. So I can't totally delegitimize the fear of using data as an enemy against the people.
Yeah. The whole thing about China is that I always tell people, listen. We gotta. I'm trying to say, us going full force at China, like aggressive full force, is not going to make them change anything. It's just going to make them even worse. It's the same thing about the Iran. This was the premise.
They're too powerful now.
Yeah, it's too powerful. This is the premises of the Iran deal. They were saying, listen, how about right now, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace, and there's a time for negotiation. These are the time for negotiations right now.
Yeah.
You know? Because they're too powerful right now. You're not, whatever you do, Huawei sells tons of phones across the world.
Look at what's happening to the U.S. market.
Russia, it sells phones to...
The stock market's dropping because of these tariffs that Trump has added to this. China has major effects on the U.S. economy.
Yes.
And to say that it doesn't is...
you don't know what you're talking
irresponsible.
Irresponsible. And the thing is, what China's been doing is like they've been slowly having their plans. In the 2000s, what they did is when they had their money, they went to a shopping spree. They've been going to places around the world, buying companies, going to Germany, buying engineering companies from all across Germany.
Yeah.
Last year they bought Aecon, a construction company that built the CN Tower, Canadian companies. So they went all around the world buying companies. They're putting all their hands in these pots. You know what I mean? It was as if they knew a time would go through where they were clash with the West, right? So now that you're in these tough situation where what you're doing right now will have ramification because they have a big impact in our economies. Even Canadians they have a big impact in our economy, right?
Oh, huge.
So it's like, how do we move through this? You know what I mean? And that's why I say there needs to be a better thorough plan, a more negotiation plan.
I think they should post her bail, really high bail. Give her bail, and then if she doesn't come back, and you figure it out from there.
Yeah, and you're gonna leave it on the terms. You're gonna leave it on
the justice system terms.
Yeah,
you have bail, and you're supposed to come back.
Here, exactly.
You're supposed
and
to
you
come
haven't.
back.
You see, you're not following the right system. Because
exactly.
If you were innocent, so that's what I'm trying to say. It has to be go through that step. But if you just take her, extradite her to the United States, because we know if we're going to send her to the United States, she's not going to have a fair trial.
Yeah, it can't happen. It can't happen.
She will not have a fair trial.
It's too slippery. It's just too slippery. It's even like all this Robert Mueller Trump stuff come out. Even if Trump does get impeached, it's scary, man. What happens next? Like, who are going to be the people who think that's not real and who think it's real? Because there's going to be a lot of people who think it's a conspiracy theory, just like all of China would be thinking that this is a conspiracy theory, regardless if it's not or it is, right? The perception matters.
Exactly, the perception of just saying in there. And what's going to happen probably if she goes to jail? What do you think is going to happen in the U.S. jail? She's a foreign national with no rights.
Yeah, who knows?
She's going to get her rights violated.
Who knows? Exactly.
So that's why a lot of people were kind of hesitant, and it's really important that they're saying that at least keep her in Canada. But then the thing is that
I think they should post bail. Maybe Canada can get some bail money out of her, and then say you got to go to the U.S. in 6 months, and if you don't, then
because China doesn't want anything about wants her release, doesn't want to hear anything about her in the United States.
Yeah.
Period.
Here, let's watch this video and see if there's
An
anything informative.
international conspiracy unveiled in a Vancouver courtroom today. Meng Wanzhou, chief financial officer of the Chinese telecom giant Huawei, appeared before a BC judge. Meng is accused of deceiving financial institutions to hide business dealings with Iran. She was arrested last weekend on Canadian soil at the request of the U.S. Justice Department. Meng will spend the weekend at this Maple Ridge prison. She faces extradition to the U.S., and if convicted, she could face up to 30 years behind bars. CTBC Bureau Chief Melanie Agee was inside the courtroom today.
Did she say 30 years?
Years behind bars. To the U.S., and if convicted, she could face up to 30 years behind bars.
This is a deal breaker if it actually happens.
Oh, it's fucked. It's going down, bro.
Shit's gonna go off.
Yeah, this is a very climactic moment in world history.
To catch a glimpse of a top executive at Huawei standing before a judge in a green jumpsuit for a bail hearing.
Because she's not a resident of Canada and is a Chinese national, she bears the onus of approving, or at least an onus of what's called showing cause, that she should be released.
Inside the courtroom, serious allegations about conspiracy to commit fraud were revealed. The Crown accuses Meng Wanzhou of deceiving American banks about the connection between Huawei and Skycom, which is believed to be an unofficial subsidiary of the tech giant. Skycom is accused of doing business with Iran and violating U.S. sanctions.
What's at stake for the company is their access to American financial institutions.
But they use Skycom, like this guy's saying, they use Skycom to get access to U.S. banks when Huawei did not have access to U.S. banks.
And what I'm just trying to say is that if this happens, this is going to set a precedent.
Yeah, everyone needs to pay attention to this.
Because the thing
especially since we're involved. Well, this is Canada.
And a lot of Canadians do business in China.
Yeah.
Do you and you know the government in China, how they are.
Yeah.
Do you think that they will not get revenge? So they will.
Oh, they're going to be pissed, bro. This is one of their largest companies, the chief financial officer of.
And she's the daughter of one of the high level people that was in the communist government.
Yeah, and she's probably in there. She is in there. We all know she's in.
It's like I'm telling you right now. Like if you're a big head chief and you're in China right now, leave.
He's scared. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Straight up. Leave right now because they will not hesitate. Because for them, they see it that that's a direct threat to our power, to our party, and we have to show force now.
It is a direct threat. Because it's a direct threat economically. Just like the tariffs. They're not happy about the tariffs. Now you're trying to throw some of their most high-level business people and highest-level elite in their country.
And this is what we're saying.
In a jail, in a green jumpsuit, bro. Oh my God, that's degrading. She's lived a royalty life.
Exactly.
And now she's in a green jumpsuit in some shitty little Vancouver court.
Already they're really cheesy. And the thing is that I'm getting mad is because you have countries like Australia and New Zealand saying, yeah, this is a good thing. But the thing is about Australia and New Zealand, a lot of high-level Chinese people go through Australia sometimes to go back to China, right?
Yeah.
But they never get arrested on Australian soil.
Yeah.
So Australia and these countries, they talk all this game, but they don't, when it comes to it, they don't arrest those guys, you know? Because they don't want to get their hands dirty like that.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, we literally got our hands dirty.
Yeah, I'm thinking about.
So it's like, fuck.
I'm thinking about like the two cops in the airport. They're looking at the picture of the chick, like the CFO of Huawei. They're looking up. They're looking at her. They're looking at the picture. They're looking at each other. They're like, should we do it? Like, this is a big deal, bro.
This is a big. like anybody that knows, anybody that follows politics and know this is like, and already they should figure out they should already figure out what they were gonna do with her, but already they're like. You can tell the court they're hesitating on this decision because it's a big decision that they're like saying, listen, if we extradite her to the America, everybody will agree that she's done.
Yo, yeah,
she's done.
It's in the Wild West at that point. Like that's done. No man's land.
And it's a ruthless. It'll be a root. She'll get all in, especially with this administration. We'll get ruthless, you know. But I don't know, man. To be honest, I think that like your idea said, give her bail. if she doesn't show up, it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on the hands of the Chinese government,
Yeah,
right?
that's gonna be on their conscience.
This gonna be on their conscience. Get a bill, get a fine, get the money, get some money into the system, get a fine for that, and then from there on, say, you see, we give
It's
mercy on this spot.
It's due process.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And we gave
trust.
We gave
to the
trust
Chinese
to you,
government,
and you haven't trusted us back.
Yeah.
So let's have more. So you can use that as a leverage tip around the world to negotiate the new terms and everything like that. I think that should be the good way to go there. But then but sadly, in the Trump administration, people surrounded by people like people Peter Navarro and all these guys like that. They're like advisors that believe into like they wrote books about like they believe in like war. They just want war to break because especially with
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, they want war to break. They're like war hungry. It's actually scary that people are like.
It's crazy.
And I'm like, if you guys are so wrong, send your kids then to war. Don't send other people with kids to war.
Clearly never been in it.
Yeah, nobody wants to go to war. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think a Chinese American war will be beneficial to anybody.
Well, no, we'd probably all die.
It's really dangerous.
Like there'd probably be no getting out of that one. So we'll update you since we're doing a podcast every 2 days. So in 2 days we'll see what it looks like. Did you hear about this?
Gilets jaunes, Eloï. That's Roland's favorite topic.
What?
Gilets jaunes, the Paris protest.
Why? Why is it your favorite topic, Lom?
Because
do you know what's up? So in Paris, there are these protests happening.
Yeah, because of fuel hikes. Yeah, the new gas price.
Yeah, and so on the screen, if you're watching video, which you should be, you'll see it's called the Yellow Jackets. And they're like trades workers and like low-income workers. And the French is hiking up gas prices.
Yeah.
It's been real violent.
It's been real. And the thing is, and other people are using this as an excuse to loot. And using an excuse, especially anarchists are using this. It's been crazy right now. And they want Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, to leave. You know what I mean? They're all asking him to leave right now. And to be fair, Macron does have. You have to think about Macron is like.
But you can't just leave. You can't just leave because some people are protesting. Like
you were elected.
Donald Trump can't just leave because women are marching. Like, it's a good thing that women are marching, but you can't just leave. Like, it doesn't work like that.
They're saying that Macron supports a lot of...
But that's almost... I don't know the economic situation they're in.
Quand on a payé les factures, il faut pas qu'il y ait de coûts durant en route. Alors quand on a tout payé, il reste plus rien.
But it can't be good for this to happen.
It's just France has been going through this state, and I don't know.
It's a tough part of the world right now.
Yeah, because they went through this economic stage where they weren't really.
They went through this influx of refugee immigration and this rise of Marine Le Pen. Like it's they had major terrorist attacks.
They had major terrorist attacks. The economy has been slowing down for years. Mm-hmm. Like in France, it hasn't been the economic levels. The economy hasn't been really.
The only reason I brought that up, and this was a part of this, was because I didn't see it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This was not covered by media.
Exactly, they're not going to cover it by media.
Yeah. So, and if you haven't heard about the Paris protests, don't be surprised.
Because it's sweeping. It's not even sweeping France. It's sweeping Europe now. Why did these protesters want? Mm-hmm. Protesters want? We don't know. Yeah. What do they want? They want change. What does change look like? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it also ties into there may be sometimes France is a big economy, but still they feel like they should have the same kind of economy as people like Britain, Germany.
Yeah.
And it's really like what you're seeing now in Europe. This is the rise of.
It's the rise of fear, bro. I don't know. It's the rise of fear. It's happening everywhere. Everyone wants a populist candidate now. Everybody wants someone for the people because no one has any trust in the hierarchy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no trust in the hierarchy. Okay, so next, how China is planning to rank. We were just talking about it. The social credit.
Yep.
Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
These are different. These are just random. There are cameras everywhere in China. Apparently, pedestrian detection technology at China's SenseTime Group Limited, and these are private companies that are holding this pedestrian detection technology.
Do you think China can ever change, like the party?
What do you mean?
Do you think you no? Because the thing is like a lot of people there's just like a lot of people are saying all these different are like when I see this, obviously I don't know the full scale of it, but
so let's read it. China has a radical plan to influence the behavior of its 1.3 billion citizens. It wants to grade them based on aspects of their life to reflect how good or bad a civilian they are. Versions of the so-called social credit system are being tested in a dozen or so cities with the aim of creating a network that encompasses the whole nation. Critics say it's heavy-handed, intrusive, and sinister way for one party to state control the population. Supporters say it'll make for a more considerate, civilized, and law-abiding society. The government has warned those who violate the law and those and lose the trust will pay a heavy price.
Oh,
so yeah, this is for real. So it's like a social credit, and what it's comparable to is, I think what I've talked about on this podcast before, but it's like our credit, like our financial credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you buy something from China that's produced in China or created in China, then you get a higher social credit.
Yeah.
And if you're hanging out with someone who has a lower social credit than you, then your social credit goes down. If you're spending time with a higher social credit than you, then your social credit goes up. It's this weird thing where they're separating people based on their economic decisions and their social decisions.
Yeah.
That is based off algorithms and data, not actual interaction, or like you can't quantify intention, so they can only quantify spending power and who you're associated with.
Oh wow.
So it's scary, man. But look at the Chinese culture. The Chinese culture is very orderly, you know what I mean? There's a strict hierarchy. There's a strict hierarchy that goes
for generations,
and if you're in the lower class, the hierarchy, you're gonna keep your mouth shut and you're gonna go along.
That's why I tell people, I was like, if you want to understand China, you have to go way back. It's been going down since the Ming Dynasty. All these different dynasties that rule China, it's been the same thing in a sense.
They've been so poor for so long, though. Okay, so how are people judged? That varies place to place. In the eastern city of Hangzhou, pro-social activities includes donating blood and volunteer work. So if you do volunteer work, your social credit goes up and you donate blood. Wow, that's trippy, bro. This is turning into a game, dude. This is turning into like you get experience for like doing this real. Maybe that's the next thing. Maybe we're all going to be like a video game. And it'll be like you get certain points to add up and you can do certain things by doing certain things in real life. Donating blood or like volunteer work or playing with dogs at the OSPCA.
You know why they did that? You want to implement this? What the thing is about it happens when your country starts to have wealth. What's going to happen with wealth? People want more rights. People want more rights, And the thing is, in China, a lot of people
needs to be incentivized,
and a lot of Chinese people, they're one of the biggest spenders they're one of the biggest tourist spenders. Chinese people buy a lot of Volkswagen cars. They buy a lot of they buy a lot of cars. They buy a lot of international American stuff. A lot of European stuff, right? So it's a big market, right? So they're trying to make sure that their people spend in China made. You know what I mean? Locally made.
Yeah.
So it's
but that allows them to have control.
Yeah.
And that once people start, there are protests in China that are happening. There are millions of people who want freedom for whatever. But as soon as you have more freedom, because they turned into more of a consumer culture.
Yeah.
Now you have to have incentives and punishment for stepping in and out of line now that you have more freedom.
Exactly.
So now that you have more freedom, we need to figure out a way to limit it so you can't step out of that line too far. And this is how they're going to do it. And so while violating traffic laws lowers an individual credit score. So if you are speeding, bro, your parents are going to know. Your parents will look at your social media app and your parents will see your credit score. and be like, see your social credit.
That's crazy.
It's scary. Like, it can't even fathom it. So in Zhoushan, an island near Zhoushan, an island near Shanghai, no-nos include mobile phone usage or smoking while driving. So how do they know you're smoking while you're driving? Like, what the fuck is this going to turn into? Like, is there going to be chips? Is there going to be, how does someone tell if you're smoking while driving?
I think in 2030 they want to get rid of all their cars.
Vandalism, walking dogs without leashes, and playing music loudly in public. Those all make your credit score low. Yo, this is so trippy. It's just so trippy how they're quantifying it now. Mm-hmm. Like, they're giving us experience points instead of it just being a natural flow of beings.
Yeah, beings, yeah.
Ooh, it's so trippy.
I actually want to go to China. I want to see it. I want to see how it is there.
So what happens if my grandparents went? They said they loved it. What happens if someone's social credit falls? People may be denied basic services or barred from borrowing money. In Yiwu, a citizen with a low social credit score cannot stay in fancier hotels, buy real estate, purchase luxury cars, send their children to certain private schools. Trust breakers face restrictions on employment, including finance, according to 2016 government directive.
You see, I think their social credit is like, also to be real too. Like, if you have a bad credit here, you can't rent stuff, you can't get a car, you can't get all these kind of stuff when you have a bad credit. But I feel like this one's more on steroids. You know what I mean? It's like,
but your credit to buy a car is not judged if you walk your dog without a leash.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like on another scale. You know what I mean? It's a way other scale. It's like on a radical scale. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, you know?
Oh, it's crazy, man. So we'll see. It would be super interesting in China, and I think we all need to okay, so this is a good one. Do the rules apply to foreigners? For pilot scheme in Yiwu, foreigners are included. A bad credit score will result in visas and residence permits not being issued or renewed, and the cancellation of foreign exchange settlement businesses. Foreigners with good score will enjoy benefits such as preferential loans and multiple entry visas.
Multiple entry visas. Oh, so, yeah.
So this is, I guess this is just how they control, bro. This is how. This is.
I was actually trying to go to China next summer.
It'd be super cool. My grandparents apparently love it.
I just want to see it. I just want to see it with my own eyes.
It would be like the most fascinating culture to go to right now.
Yeah, it's like totally different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Totally different.
So,
Michael conferred with Trump about Putin during the election. Oh,
I don't want to get into that right now. We can get into that later.
Too much.
Yeah. So this one's for you, 40. Yo, hello. We got a good one here. Too much sleep linked to a greater risk of disease and death, study finds. The recommended amount of sleep for adults is 6 to 8 hours a night. Sleeping more than those hours is associated with an increased risk of death and cardiovascular diseases, says a global study published Wednesday in the European Heart Journal. Looking at data from 21 countries across 7 regions, the research team found that people sleeping more than the recommended upper limit of 8 hours increased their risk of major cardiovascular events like stroke or heart failure, as well as death by up to 41%. That's a lot. That's not even like that's not a little bit of a percentage. But a possible reason for this could be that people have underlying conditions causing them to sleep longer, which in turn could raise the risk of cardiovascular disease or mortality, explain the authors of the study. Okay, so they aren't totally 100% about it, apparently. No. But that's a large 41. Joe Rogan did this really interesting podcast with the sleep expert, and he said how much, if you don't sleep enough, you're so much more likely to get dementia and Alzheimer's when you're older. And it makes sense if you sleep too much that it would, especially with like cardiovascular disease, like, because when you're sleeping, you're laying down, you know what I mean? Your blood flow's all fucked up. It's all different. You're not humping your heart. You're not doing anything for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're laying down there, it might not not work as hard as it should be for as long as it should be throughout the day.
True.
It's trippy. So if there's anyone who likes their shut eye a little too much, you're gonna die. Okay, this one's interesting. This one's a Canada. This one's very brand appropriate.
Listen to the sound of Mars. Wow.
So you want to hear the sound of Mars, bro?
Let's hear it.
You can't hear it, hold on, but we'll hear it for you. So the recordings come courtesy of Insight seismometer and air pressure sensor. At the time of the recording, the air pressure sensor recorded a wind of 10 to 15 miles per hour. So this is the Mars rover, and we're about to listen to the sound of Mars, bro. Fake. Why do they gotta make it look all cool and gold and shit? You know what I mean? Like, it just looks like it's a movie prop. Like, yo, you could have this thing with just like metal case around it, I'm sure. Vibrations caused by Martian wind was picked up by the seismometer. The wind was blowing across the lander's solar panels, causing small movements. Can you hear it? Yeah, me too. So if you can hear that low vibrating. So this is it pitched up a little bit. Bro.
It sounds like wind. Desert.
I know, but it's Mars wind. Dude, that's wind on Mars. Can you even believe that, bro?
Yeah. No. I'm trying to see if they can live there.
Yeah, Elon Musk is gonna build it. Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk to Mike?
About trips.
Yeah. No, apparently, I don't know if they're gonna do round trips because I don't know how long it's gonna take. But there will be tourists going to the U.S. or to the moon very soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a
moon base.
I think a Russia or a Chinese company is doing it. Here, let's go to another one, and then we'll cut it off soon. Yo, this is the China special out here, boys. This is a can opener. We should. We'll probably get me and you. We'll probably be extradited eventually.
Where?
To China. And then we're going to end up like this guy. The Chinese scientist who claims to have edited baby DNA is reportedly not under a house arrest after all. Okay, so this guy he's the first. So here, I'll read it. The university in southern China linked to its DNA editing former associate professor He Jiangku has told the South China Morning Post that the scientist has not been put under house arrest despite reports that he had. He who stands by his claims to have produced the world's first gene-edited babies was reported by local Hong Kong's Ming Pao local newspaper to have been brought back to Shenzhen by the university's president and placed under house arrest somewhere on campus.
Isn't it illegal to...
The reports claimed he was taken there after he made an appearance at the Second International Summit on Human Genome Editing in Hong Kong on Wednesday. He has yet to be seen public since the summit. So, facing his colleagues at the summit, he defended the experiments that have attracted global condemnation. So, in a glowing interview with the CCTV in 2017, he was praised for his work in radical gene sequencing and comes off as gripped by enthusiasm for the apparent enormity of the experience. Some people said we shook the global gene sequencing industry right. It's me, He and Jinku. I did it. Okay, so first of all, you don't talk about yourself in third person. That's rule number one. And you're sounding a little bit ignorant. You know what I mean? He's trying to take some credit. So that worries me a little bit when you're talking about editing babies.
Isn't that illegal or something like that?
It's one of those taboo. Why is it illegal? Who's making it illegal? You know what I mean? There's no global jurisdiction.
well, there's like a treaty. There's an international treaty where people sign on these different things, though.
Yeah, but this hasn't been signed. This is however, last week Zhu Nanping, Vice Minister of the Ministry of Science and Technology, told some news agency that Chinese authorities had ordered the research of anybody involved in the gene-edited babies incident to be suspended. So maybe they didn't do it. Maybe they did it under the wraps.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that no government wants that to come up. Oh, you guys gene-edited babies, you know what I mean? It's not something that will look too nice.
Yo, that's when shit gets crazy.
That's when shit gets crazy.
But if you can do plastic surgery, why can't you gene-edit a baby? See, we're just getting deep into just these ridiculous arguments that are just almost impossible to answer.
Yeah, I know what to say to that.
It's like, who knows, man? Like, what?
I definitely think I don't agree with both, but I see some, I don't know. It's interesting.
It's opening Pandora's box, as it says right here.
Pandora's box.
Yo, I feel like Pandora's box has been open. It's been open.
It just
bro.
needs that one person one government to make it legal, and it's done.
But what do you think the first? See the problem. What do you think the problem is with gene editing? That's the thing. I've heard different arguments. Sam Harris says that you can't gene edit because gene editing technology is going to be very expensive, and then all of a sudden we're going to find out a gene in the human that has something to do with intelligence or has something to do with ability or has something to do with this, and then only rich people are going to be able to edit their babies to be like this, so the elite will farther separate from everybody else.
Yeah. Well, I just look on the moral grounds, but that's a good strategic way of saying it.
Like a very
I know I look on the moral high ground, which is wrong, but then
can't play God.
Yeah,
stop trying to be God.
Yeah, and then but what you're saying, what your point there was actually pretty good. I never thought about that way.
Sam Harris, he's a psychology.
Yeah, I know Sam Harris.
Yeah, super smart dude.
I didn't think about that way.
So gay priests must be celibate or leave priesthood. Pope says. Aren't they supposed to be celibate anyway?
Yeah.
Homosexuality, address the homosexuality in the church. Yo, they've been having like gay coke parties and.
Yeah, it's been happening for years.
I know, it's kind of dope. I respect it. Anyways, we'll move on from that.
Canada sanctions 17 Saudis. That you see that.
Oh, let's go here. This is more China. Yo, there's so much China shit going on, dude. Millennials in China are using news to secure loans. Money lenders are offering services like Afterpay are demanding that customers send naked selfies as collateral. So it's like, if you don't pay back your loan, I'm going to release this nude picture of you everywhere. How trippy is that?
Is it for real?
I guess so, man. It's Vice. I don't know.
Vice is Canadian, right?
Vice started out Canadian, yeah.
It started off. No, it's not Canadian anymore.
It's not Canadian anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the Vice founders.
You sold out, Vice. You sold out.
One of the Vice founders, you know who it is?
Yeah, degreeing that guy there with the mustache.
Yeah. Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hate group now.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you troll too hard. You want to troll too hard and play with the games, bro? You're going to be labeled a Nazi. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's going to happen, bro. Okay, well, let's end with this. Well, here, you were asking if there's going to be trips to Mars. Elon Musk says there's a 70% chance that he'll move to Mars.
78 chance?
70% chance Elon Musk will move to Mars.
Jeez.
Oh, there's so much stuff that I have saved here that I just want to talk about forever, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Russia sees Ukraine shift. That's
I want to talk about this. Controversial spraying method aims to curb global warming. You know what they're doing, bro?
What?
So their plan is there's a bunch of Harvard scientists. So New York, a fleet of 100 planes making 4,000 worldwide missions per year could help save the world from climate change. Also,
Bullshit.
It may be relatively cheap. That's the conclusion of a new peer-reviewed study in environmental research. So if you listen to Joe Rogan podcasts and you listen to a lot of the scientists and the very smart people that he talks to, like professors, that they say pretty much every single study is bullshit. It's bought.
Yeah,
it's just like the same. They don't even hold up weight in court anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I see this, a new peer-reviewed study, that sketches me out because it's all this group within that structure approves this idea.
Yeah. Monsanto was a lot of them are owned by Monsanto, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like
So it's the stuff of science fiction. Planes spraying tiny sulfate particles into the lower stratosphere around 60,000 feet up. The idea is to help shield the Earth from just enough sunlight to help keep temperatures low. One sec. The researchers examined how practical and costly a hypothetical solar geoengineering project would be beginning 15 years from now. The aim would be to halve the temperature increase caused by heat-trapping greenhouse gases. This method would mimic what large volcanoes do. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines. It was the second largest eruption of the 20th century, according to... So the method would mimic what larger volcanoes do. So we've had this conversation on this podcast. That's the end of the world. Once a huge volcano blows up, then it's called a volcanic winter. And the whole world gets covered in this cloud, and everybody dies because there's no sunlight.
I think they're just trying to kill half of the humans.
Bro, you never know. This is people who were talking about those chemtrails. You know what I mean? Sounds way less crazy now, bro.
No, the funny thing is there's two conspiracy theory out there. There's one conspiracy theory out there that are saying that there are planes that go up and release chemicals from the skies. That's been happening for a long time again.
Look at reflective aerosols. That's exactly what that is.
There was a conspiracy theory like 10 years ago. People were saying these stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it's funny how they break it down. Because like, hey, I think it literally does happen already. Two, there's also a conspiracy theory saying that some elites want to kill half of the world.
Well, yeah. There's conspiracy theories for everything. So geoengineering, carbon dioxide removal. So 1, ocean iron fertilization. I don't know what that would be. CO2 capture from fossil fuels plus storage. I don't know what that would be. CO2 capture from air plus storage. Okay, so they're just capturing CO2 and then doing something, making it not. Reforestation. That. Wow, that's a good idea. That's number 4 on the list, bro. Maybe throw that like up top, maybe?
Up top, maybe, yeah. Canada's been reforesting for years.
Solar radiation management. Reflective aerosols. So literally chemtrails. Cloud seeding. So I'm guessing that's just creating clouds. And space mirrors. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Right?
Space mirrors? Look at that. They look like satellite dishes.
Do you see these kind of stuff that these would be intruding? I don't feel comfortable with that.
I don't feel comfortable with it at all. And it's pretty much the beginning of every doomsday movie you could ever think of. And it's going to happen. It's happening already. They're doing it.
They're already doing it already.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make it look, they're just trying to spin it to make it look good. But the thing is, it's up for the people to refuse those kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
What a terrible idea. I can't imagine how many Band-Aids we're going to have on the earth before it just like explodes.
You know what? Because like you said, not everybody will look as, some people look at other people and don't give a shit about them. Like, you remember we had that conversation?
Yeah.
You told me that some people can just look at you and be like, somebody can stab you right now, and I would not give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Remember that we had that conversation before one of our podcasts?
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like those people always find ways. Oh, let's end climate change through this. Yeah, it might kill a couple of people, but it's not an issue, right? So it's just like, how much are we gonna value our human rights? This is not a country thing. This is a world thing.
Mm-hmm.
How much do we value human life?
And yeah, that's a good point. It's not a country thing. It is a world thing. So how are we, if we can't even figure out trading with each other, how are we going to figure out what to do with geothermal engineering?
No.
How are we going to figure out if we are in a situation where we're holding one of China's CFOs, one of its largest companies in the world? How are we going to figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
It's literally almost impossible.
It's impossible. Countries will literally go to war for that stuff.
Because there's steps too. There's steps. This is not the first step. You can't just be like, okay, let's put all this aside and let's figure this out. It's like, no, you can't. You have to go from the way back in the beginning and be like, okay, well, how did this start?
And you have to get through people, accepted through going to people's airspace, all these different stuff.
But I was doing economics homework, and there was a question that surprised me, and it was a question about tariffs, and it was a question that it was which is the most viable option, or which is the best suited option when two countries are going to put tariffs on each other. So it's a low tariff percentage or a high tariff percentage, and it's a grid. So the low tariff percentage would get the most value out of both companies or both countries. High tariff would get lower value out of both countries. But the correct answer, you would think the correct answer is low tariff on either country.
It's high tariff.
It's high tariff on other countries. That is the economic answer, because they, as two separate countries, they cannot trust each other. There's not a trust. You each have to fight for your dominance. And when you fight for your dominance, you end up getting less value from everybody else. And there's this thing in economics called Nash's theory.
Yeah.
And it's a theory of an equilibrium that, have you seen A Beautiful Mind?
Yeah.
So that guy, that movie was based off, there's a theory of what's best for the individual is what's best for the group. And what's best for the group is what's best for the individual.
Yeah.
So we need to get to a point where we understand that what's best for the individual is what's best for the group. And what's best for the group is what's best for the individual. And that's what we don't get. That's the thing. That it's everything. It's China-U.S. relations. It's black-white relations. It's Native American-white relations. You know what I mean? There's this loss that we have. But I don't... Who knows?
When we talk about the tariffs, it was interesting because I was saying that's why Canada was putting 340% tariffs on their milk, their dairy products.
Yeah.
To protect their industry against because the thing is, Canada's industries cannot compete with America's subsidies. They subsidize their farmers. We cannot compete with that. If we allow them to ship our market, all these dairy farmers are going to lose their jobs in Canada. And
if Canada didn't raise those revenues and all that, or didn't raise tariffs to that, then all of that value would be flowing into the United States.
Exactly. But then with the new NAFTA deal, it gives more access to American dairy products to Canada. So we're gonna see how that's gonna turn out.
Anyways, this controversial, where
I ain't getting sprayed nowhere, bro. Shoot.
But I'm glad
straight up, right? Hold up. Yo, I ain't getting sprayed nowhere.
At least they're telling us now. You know what I mean? Like
they've been already doing it. Probably they were already doing it. You know. Yeah. But
anyways, okay. Well, we'll do the rest of the stuff later. We're gonna be pumping out podcasts.
Every 2 days.
Every 2 days. Well, I'm gonna do it every 2 days, but it'll be every day. If you anyone who subscribes or listens to the camera, go subscribe and listen to the Inside Source, because there'll be a podcast every 2 days there too, and it'll be coinciding with this.
Yeah.
But we just gotta do it, and I'm gonna fucking stay up all night tomorrow night editing this video so I can get highlights out, and then everybody has to let me know what you thought of the video, how we can make it better, and what else should be in it. Work hard.
Another one.
Don't sleep for more than 6 to 8 hours, or else you're gonna die.
It's Treyway.